What's going on, YouTube? It's Marvelous, and I'm here to give a unique but yet marvelous opinion today. Usually, I don't really touch on this topic for obvious reasons. I'm a state. For one, I already know it's going to be seen as hypocritical of me to even speak on this topic, considering my current relationship status. Secondly, this topic isn't for everyone. This is for a specific group of people that I'm going to speak to. All right, this ain't my normal. I want to help everyone become aware and everyone lift up everyone. This isn't nothing. This is special. Like I said, this is for my melanated people. This is for people in America who identify as black. All right, let's talk about it because there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to unpack about our community. What brings me to this topic was I just got done eating, right? I'm coming back from the restaurant and listening to my podcast, not mine, but just podcasts that I listen to for information and stuff, and left it on auto playlist, and then Kevin Samuels joint starts coming through, and I'm like, what is this? And it's somehow it's basically like a severity and a serious thing that's going on that he wanted to note. And he's talking to this young lady, and bro, just from I think I watched like 3 minutes of it. It was already more than halfway through. This whole sit down with this young lady was like 40 something minutes long, and I'm like a little bit past halfway point of listening to what's going on. And just at the halfway point, I was amazed. I was like, wow, this is more severe than I thought. I could see why he put it in the title because it is a problem. So, and I can understand his plight now and why he was really determined to fix black women specifically. Um, so that's what pretty much inspired this whole particular special episode of Marvel's Opinion. So, like I said, let's get into it. The thing I've realized during that interview with that young lady was that she she had her mind made up about how she felt, and you can have your feelings. No one's saying you're wrong for feeling the way you feel or something like that. All right, it's what you believe. Is what you believe. Okay, can't change that. But when you start to deny truth, that's where things get messed up. And I'm starting to believe that with this one example, that there actually might be a lot more black women like this. I have not focused on black women specifically. I look at the whole world as a total in its totality and see certain various cause and effects. I already know that in America, the black community was the first to pretty much undergo this experiment, let's call it, right? Basically, how to divide and conquer, right? And I just didn't know how far um, our women have been torn apart from black men. Like right now, you're starting to see in society as a whole that men and women are just starting to become less and less familiar. There's more friction, there's more tension between the sexes. But to tell you the truth, this has been going on in the black community for a very, very, very long time, longer than most American people in our country, specifically in America. And I do feel for him. I do. So this is what I observed from Kevin Samuels' video. While she's stuck in her feelings and her emotions and she's ignoring facts, he is literally breaking it down Barney style to her. I mean, literally using 1 plus 1 equals 2 and explaining to her the importance of why your feelings should not dictate um, your direction. You know what I'm saying? And man, this is a multivariant issue because there's multiple reasons, multiple complications that go into why this has been compounded in her mind. on why she's so strong on her emotions. Forget the fact that we're not emotional. Take that off the table, okay? This could happen even to a dude, all right? If the circumstances were the same or if he was in a similar situation, okay? This is not necessarily a chemical imbalance between estrogen and testosterone, okay? We're not even going to the science of chemicals yet. That does take a factor, but we're not even going to go there. These women are conditioned in a way because yes, they have more options in the sense of like decisions, more choices. Women have more decisions, more choices to make in life. Um, a lot of decisions to make in life. A lot of these decisions are actually diversions for the most part. A lot of women don't see it that way, but a lot of these things are diversions to keep you distracted and focus on yourself. I mean, your true self, knowing who you actually are, and what actually makes you valuable. You can say all these exterior things you got going on, your money, your cash, and all stuff like that, but the real you inside, I, I don't even know if you see it. I don't know if it's all the fake stuff, delusional stuff you tell yourself, your friends encourage the validation from others, all the exterior love that you get, but where's the love for yourself? That's for another topic. I wasn't really trying to go there, but it kind of ties in with one of the issues that I've seen with black women specifically. A lot of these insecurities do show up in black women. I mean, the most common thing I hear about is hair all the time. Good hair, bad hair, weaves, and all that stuff like that, extensions. It's not to say other women don't, but let's just be real here, okay? Our black women, this is why we had a natural hair movement, okay? We had to address the elephant in the room, okay? We know that there's European standards that black women do not fit the mold to, and they shouldn't even have to. But that's for another discussion, another topic, another day. This comes down to our women really not feeling valued, but I believe it's because they're being um, manipulated outside of the family structure. I believe there are things that are playing on their psyche that they have no control over and deal with in a way, rather than basically loving each other, validating each other, comparing each other. They tend to look outside themselves more, outside the group. It's not just black women. I think black people in general are really suffering from this in a sense. How do I know? Well, we just had an actress, Angela Bassett. She played in the movie Black Panther Forever, and apparently she killed that role. Um, I already knew she was a great actor ever since she played a Tina Turner. I thought her acting skills was completely believable as Tina Turner. I was impressed. Still one of my best films. I love. Great. You know what I'm saying? People say she should have got an Oscar then, but that right there is the problem. Let's talk about that just for one moment. All right. Why do we feel as black people that we need to be validated by people outside our group? If we feel that this particular actress is valuable and she's awesome, she's incredible, she's the best to us, shouldn't that suffice? If not, shouldn't that be the best reward in a sense? Shouldn't having your people's approval be the best thing you can receive? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, I don't know, like you have your family who loves and supports you and does all these things for you, and then you rather want to receive love from people who don't even know you or understand you, who didn't even raise you or nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of backwards, and I don't understand why this is a constant problem. To me, I believe it's just because all the distractions, a lot of exterior things that we're dealing with, and we forget to look within inside ourselves. We keep wrestling with all of these outside distractions. And I'm not even just talking about racism. Racism is the biggest one in a sense of not impact, but distraction. We love to see racism. We love to look for drama. We love to even sometimes start the drama, and that's another issue in itself too. If we took that same energy that we apply looking for racist people or people who mean to do what's wrong and all sort of stuff like that. If we took that same energy and just applied it to validation, um, love, and understanding between each other, we would have already superseded the issues that are evident in our community, and they'd be non-existent. Because we are attacking things outside of our control, and we're not even trying to take control of us. It all starts with us, and you know that our people are very, very unstable when it comes to the mental health. Why do I know this? Because they get triggered so easily. The N word, I don't care. That word does not control me. It don't. It really don't. Because it has no meaning to me in a sense. I can care less. Thank you for telling me how you feel. Have a good day. I'm not gonna give you control. And that's another thing too. Pride. For men, specifically, women have a different point. I should stick to them because I was talking to them first. That's why I'm here in the first place. So let's just disregard that. I'll get to that aspect again. Layers to this thing. Women have this issue with vanity, imagery, and that is what's controlling them. They don't realize, and this is all women, it's not just black women, but black women have been suffering with imagery for the longest of periods of time. With their basically their image being tarnished in so many books and in so many ways they've been characterized in the most obscured and ridiculous, repulsive ways, um, and it's unfair. But just because that's how they depict us, just because that's how they want to see us, we can still play off of that ignorance. Because the most important thing is that we know who we are. We are not what they define us as. We're better than that. We can be. I've seen evidence of it. So we can be better than how they project us. All right. I said this on to my homeboy on his Facebook. I said, "Yo, they could enslave us. They can control our image. They can control us and stuff like that. But what they cannot do, what they have no power over, is our tongue and spirit. And best believe there is power in both of those. But that's the thing we have not united upon. Um, our spirit has dwindled. How do I know? Because the faith is weak, 100% weak. How do I know? Because my people keep expressing doubt. Our women, our men, that's all I hear is doubt. And that tells me that we are not connected. We don't have any peace in our community. And this is again, this is the biggest elephant in the room for real. We lack knowing who we are. I don't care if someone outside of us had took our tongues, basically our language, our culture, and our freedom. They didn't take everything from us. We still have power in other avenues. Full stop. We need to learn how to love each other. And I'm not saying that in the sense of like some kumbaya emotional, because that's fickle. It's not going to last long. I'm not talking about that, obviously. I'm talking about what I preach all the time to you guys, if you've been watching my channel: truth, faith, understanding. We should not be destroying ourselves. Like, and I mean that in all aspects. We shouldn't be self destructing and being little bombers and taking each other out in a glaze of glory for whatever pride that we have or egos. Let that go. Do better for yourself. Do better for the people around you. Be a beacon of light to your people, man. So for women again, who you guys who are trapped in the mirror, I get it. This is another reason why when you're in front of that mirror, it's hard to be accountable. But in some cases, you really shouldn't. But then again, we can't even guide our women. this woman that was on Kevin Samuels was a testament to that. He could not get through to her with just basic reasoning, just the truth. She felt so empowered to just stand on her square. Why? Because women in general, all right, the consequences are not severe. The consequences for making a mistake based on how you feel, they don't they don't really feel the pain from making a mistake that could have been grave or whatever. How do I know? Because women out here reckless. And it's not to say that men ain't reckless. Men are stupid reckless too. But women are different because they can get away with certain things and they know they can get away with these things. They don't receive capital punishment for certain crimes. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. They know if they hit a dude can't hit back or something. And that's a misconception. That just needs to be corrected. I find it egregiously disrespectful that a woman feels more comfortable hitting a man than a dog. Just put that in full perspective. She would not hit no random dog, let's say like a Rottweiler or something like that. Why? Because she got more respect for that dog. But for a man, none. And the thing is, I think we lost black women a long time ago in the big house, mentally. When you talk about slaves and stuff like that, I remember when I grew up, we had a big mama. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. Mama, I miss you. But Big Mama, where did that come from? Where did that caricature come from? Why do we all have a Big Mama? Because Big Mama came from the big house. And Big Mama ran the big house. All right? She was given power by the man of that house. And guess what? To this day, that man is still given the power, which is why it's hard to pull our women in to follow us because we lack power to some degree. And I'm not even just talking financial. As I told you, power comes in many forms. And a lot of our men are weak right now. Believe it or not. There's a lot of men who are very weak, but that's only because the faith in them is so weak. They look towards, in my opinion, losers. They look up to these false idols. They look outside themselves. That's really the real issue. Men have to stop looking outside themselves and look within. You know what I'm saying? And not having a father figure that could love them. Okay? And when I say love, I mean like truth, faith, and understanding. Understanding what it is to be a man in your position and to make decisions and why you have to do certain things. Instilling that wisdom in his son from, all the things he grew up learning and teaching. That's why it's so important to have a man figure, at least in a child's life. And it has to be someone real close. It can't be someone who's just like a one-off. I see this man, I don't know, once a month type stuff, and I'm comfortable around my kid. Like, no, it has to really be someone who's going to be invested and take the time to give your son that love that he needs. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all mothers, the best, actually, the one of the biggest things that women do for their sons is teach them how to protect. Because that same sense and urgency that mothers have to protect their sons, they take that same energy and protect their wives. That's the feeling anyway. The discernment comes from the father. Decision making and discipline that comes from the father. And a lot of these kids lack just that. It is what it is. We gotta open our eyes up to the bull. Now you're saying like, well, how do we fix it? Well, first, black women, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get yourself out of that mirror I was talking about. This imagery really is controlling a lot of you guys. Not just black women, just black people in general, but black women are really suffering the most when it comes to this mirror because they really have encased themselves in this thing. And it's like because of this, when they're in the mirror, people are telling them things, empowering them with things they want to hear, things that they desire to hear. And it really entraps them because a lot of women do run off their emotions. And when you have someone that's basically appeasing to how you feel, it puffs you up. You become self-absorbed, trapped within yourself. And some, in most, in well, I don't say most, in severe cases, you become narcissistic, like you're perfect. So now you can't even see flaws within yourself. Now you're really not seeing yourself at all. You're so cut off from yourself, you don't even know up from down, left from right. But you believe you're always all right, though. That's for sure. So, how to break yourself from this curse? How do you get out the mirror? How is it that you can actually stop focusing on yourself so much that you tend to ignore the men and the children? How are you able to find yourself and make sense of this life that you're in rather than wandering aimlessly, bigging yourself up to a point where you can self destruct? Because again, emotions are fickle. And if that's all you've been going by, and society has been, it's going to protect you still from a lot of the consequences that you could have faced. But again, the people who gave you that mirror are the ones who are empowering you and controlling you because they know what you desire and they're willing to give you that in exchange of controlling you. Don't believe me? I just found out that in Mississippi and New York, most abortions that are performed are on black women than any other group. Like I said, it's more severe than I thought. I didn't know it was this bad. But, some people are looking at it like, oh, black people are being targeted. I'm like, nah. Because even if they were being targeted and told that they should do something, well, that's because that women are not in control of themselves. If they're more likely to be um, persuaded into making that decision, if they're more likely, more compromised in making that choice, then that's their lack of control. That's their lack of will. That's their lack of discipline. It shows that other women, sorry to say, this I hate having to say this, are more disciplined than our women. Not with just the sexual aspect, but in the fact that our women are probably a little bit more selfish. Not with just the acts, but this is what happens when you get encased in that mirror and you get puffed up and you're only chasing after what you want. This is the consequences. You become more selfish. And it's also going to become more harder for you to find someone who's going to want to deal with you in your nature, especially when you can't be told nothing, which is what I was seeing on full display with that interview with Kevin Samuels. And he was calm. And this is like Kevin, he entertains, but this was serious, and he had to be like, "Ma'am, I'm being serious with you right now." And he was grossly concerned, and which made me grossly concerned. I was like, "Wow, this is severe." And again, this is me sympathizing with the situation. Usually, you don't get no sympathy or pity from me, but this was. I said, I gotta say something. This ain't right. And then I'm saying, again, I'm not one to judge, but it's just I don't like suffering. I don't like seeing people suffer. This is why I haven't started this whole channel in the first place. I don't want to see people suffer necessarily. I want people to be more aware of the decision making so they can avoid from having to go through things unnecessarily in life, or at least be able to explain things and grow wiser. But people are making the same mistakes over and over again, drive themselves insane. And it's like, what makes you think that your results are going to be any different? Are you so puffed up and trapped in your own self that you can't see beyond your own ego? What is it? What's going on with you? But that question, that's something you have to ask yourself. Most people are going to be too prideful to even ask themselves that. They're trapped within themselves. And honestly, it takes a lot to humble a person who's encased within themselves like that. There's a lot they have to let go in order to have them understand and be aware. Like that was the situation the young lady was with Kevin Samuels. She was completely clueless and unaware. Completely gone. And she was nice. She wasn't like I don't know, rude, obnoxious, or what's the other word I'm thinking about? Let's just keep it. She wasn't rude. She was she was actually very nice, but she was naive. That's what I can call it. She was very nice, but very naive. Um, and stubborn. Very stubborn. Jesus. I like Kevin said, man, the need to be right, and I don't get it. It's like, is it that hard to like? Are you so puffed up? Yes, they are. You know this one. I know this. I know this. I know they are. Sorry, when black women specifically have been getting encouraged while standing in front of this mirror. This is why like black women's image is so important to them, and how it's uh, perceived on the television and stuff like that. They will harp heavy on that, even with the whole bonnet thing. You know what I'm saying? Who was that? Monique, and she critiqued it, and I thought people respect Monique. I mean, I love Monique. I really do. Like I had got a newfound respect of that woman once she actually I could tell she started to love her husband and to love herself. I could see it, and she was just trying to help her people, but you saw how that played out. You can't tell them nothing. It's like, who are you? Who are you? You fat whatever, you know. But Monique, she tried. She gave it up, but she was easily dismissed, disrespected, and all that stuff because she just wanted to see her people in a better image. But bro, when it comes to a better image, we can't even decide that. It's like whatever comes out, we're gonna defend it. If it's good, we're gonna clap our hands. If it's bad, we're not gonna say nothing. We might celebrate it. Excuse me, but we're not gonna even say it's bad. Only time we'll say something's bad is if someone had maybe experienced a death or something like that. But even with death being on our doorsteps, seems like every month someone's dying in a black community, and it's tragic. Um, but it seems like we just seem to justify things. We make excuses for our own mistakes. We like to look outside ourselves and say the world's our biggest problem, and it's actually us. And I'm not trying to excuse again things that have happened in the past, but I also know that they don't control every aspect of power. They don't. They really don't. And there's no excuse to why we can't excel in other ways. The reason why we can't excel is because a lot of us have become selfish in our own ways, chasing after what we want, looking at the world, which is why we keep looking for approval of the world. We're trapped within ourselves. We're seriously. We keep saying it's the world that has us enslaved and stuff like that, but it's not really the world. It's you. You've encased yourself in that situation. Men with their pride, women with their vanity. You put yourself in that situation. You're just not aware of it. But once you wake up to the bullshit, then we can start getting some work done. But it takes a lot to omit that. Because both of those things is hard as hell to let go. Pride, an image, vanity. For some people, that's their livelihood. You know what I'm saying? But that's just one of the biggest issues I've seen. At least that's where we can start with us. It's better than trying to convince people outside of ourselves to fix us. It's an old saying I say, man. How do you expect to love others when you don't even love yourself? How will you ever know your worth and your value if you can't even do right from within? You owe yourself that much, right? You owe it to yourselves. If not them, you at least have to love yourself. And I'm going to end it on that cliff note. Because there's a lot to unpack with the black community. And I don't want to make a habit of talking to my people this way because it discouraged them. As I said before, we have insecurities. And I'm already in my current situation. They ain't going to want to hear from no dude like myself because I'm an outsider. I trade myself. You have no right to talk about black women because you married a Asian woman. Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Because this information I'm given doesn't just have to be applied to black people. It can be applied to everybody. So anyone who's tuned in and watched this who isn't black, you can still take this information. It's very pertinent, very helpful. But I wanted to make this directly clear to the people who look like myself because they really are dealing with a lot of things that are very unique, and I understand it more so because I'm still in the same skin. I still had to deal with those things and still have to put up with certain things based on my image. Now, me, I might not be a slave to it, and I'm not. I broke free of that. But doesn't mean I can't help my people become free. Because their path is going to definitely be more unique than other groups. Other groups ain't, they definitely don't, they're not going to be able to resonate with this like you guys. You guys know we all live in the same conditions in the sense of who we are as our identity. You can identify certain things. You can understand certain things. So when I say you need to love each other, this is what I mean. Do not deny me because my wife is Asian. Irrelevant. I still have love for you. And if you choose to, because you can, if you choose to deny, well, that's up to you. I won't judge you for it neither. Life is a decision-making process. We all make decisions. But I just want you to be aware that you make the choice, that this is your life. I just want to give it back to you. I just want to hand it to you. That's all. Signing out. Guys, have a marvelous evening.